Hello, my name is Ian Currey, and this is another episode of Thinking Out Loud. Before we get started today, if you are enjoying these videos, take a moment to share them with your friends. You can copy and paste the video link and let them know that you're enjoying this series and you think they might too. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button too. Now that just helps YouTube know that you like what you're seeing. Now, where was I? Oh yes, fear. What are you afraid of? Why? Is fear always based on danger? Do you do some things that are actually dangerous, but you aren't afraid of those? Come on, let me tell you what I think. Living here in the hot, muggy south of the United States, there are a lot of interesting bugs and wildlife that we didn't see growing up in the cool, damp British Isles. Deer, especially, are very bold. Most evenings we have them camping out in our backyard and they think anything we plant is a salad bar. Since they mostly move around at dusk when it's getting dark, we really don't have a lot of good pictures of them. But it is quite common to have to hoosh them off the drive when I come home from work, or see them scurrying across the road to get a drink from the lake. Deer eat everything, but other than that they really aren't a problem. Well, unless you hit them with a car as they're on the road. And well, they can get aggressive when they're being protective of newborn fawns. Well, and there is ticks, deer ticks. Those are nasty if they latch onto you. So no, not really much to fear, but they can do some damage. Now, on the other hand, cockroaches are a problem. They sometimes get into the house and you know exactly where they are by the blood-curdling squeals and screams coming from certain members of the household. Sparky is pretty good at letting us know too when one gets inside. He scooches around growling and pointing with his nose until we do something. Hillary's gotten very brave and has a way of catching them with a plastic tub. She used to throw them out into the yard before I pointed out that they may well just turn around and march right back into the house. And so now there are other ways of dealing with them. But fear of bugs is really unfounded, isn't it? I know that roaches aren't particularly healthy things, and we certainly don't want them in the house. But they're quite harmless. I mean, really they are. I mean, they're not going to eat me or anything, are they? And they don't even bite. In the past, I've shown you some huge spiders that live around here. Now, those are nasty things, aren't they? Well, sort of. Actually, they do a great job of keeping other bugs at bay for us. But that's me trying to use logic where logic is inappropriate. Some time ago, I made a video about the things people say they are afraid of. And that list was interesting and followed a theme with most of the things people were afraid of entirely predictable. But sometimes things we should fear, we don't at all. Sometimes it is simply because the danger isn't obvious and we aren't aware that we should be afraid. While other times I think it might be that we think we're safe and yet really we're not at all. Fear, though, can be crippling. Now, I've seen people get physically sick at the thought of having to go flying in an aircraft. And while I do that almost every day as part of my job, and of course I'm not afraid of flying, well, that's because I've been there and done that over and over again. The logic of it all isn't the reason I'm not afraid. The reason I'm not afraid is because I've proved over and over again that the aircraft is safe and trustworthy. Now, when someone is afraid, no amount of logic will overcome that fear. The only thing that works is trust and experience. Things like, I'm coming with you and will be right here. Or, I'll sit where you can see me. Look, keep your eyes on me. I've seen crew members sit across the aisle from passengers and hold their hand to help with fear, especially during heavy turbulence. Now, that can be a little scary at times, even for those of us who've been through it over and over again. While life and faith are totally intertwined, faith cannot be logicked into place any more than telling Hillary cockroaches are harmless and squealing at them isn't going to help. For faith to be real, what you believe has to be put to the test. Do you really believe what you say you believe? Okay then, well, let's see. Now, the other day I was reading Psalm 56 and noticed something there. And as always, this is an interesting psalm, well worth a read later. But the psalmist starts off in a bit of a pickle. "O God, have mercy on me, for people are hounding me. My foes attack me all day long. I am constantly hounded by those who slander me, and many are boldly attacking me." And here's the part that caught my attention. "But when I am afraid, I will put my trust in you." Well, at a glance, that sounds great, but, well, shouldn't the psalmist be putting his trust in God all the time, not just when he is afraid? Is the author saying, hey, when life is good, I'm fine, I've got this. But then when things go badly wrong, as they seem to be, suddenly, "But when I am afraid, I will put my trust in you." How do you think that's going to play out? For someone who is in control or thinks they are, all of the rest of the time, suddenly letting go and handing things over to God when it gets scary is hardly likely to be a smooth transition, is it? Now, there's a song written down in the book of Isaiah that illustrates how things work a lot better. Let me show you. "Our city is strong. We are surrounded by the walls of God's salvation. Open the gates to all who are righteous. Allow the faithful to enter. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock." So here we have a very different picture. Things are going great. Everything seems to be fine. And the song says to God, "You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you." And there is the key. Trust in the Lord always. So none of this, "But when I am afraid, I will put my trust in you." Instead, the song in Isaiah seems to tell us to trust in the Lord always, even when there isn't any apparent danger. Building our faith and letting God guide us when things are easy and safe and when things are calm will prepare us for when things go badly wrong and we don't know what to do. Danger is always present. We just can't always appreciate it. But letting someone else, someone who knows how to deal with what we're going to have to face, take control before we get into a mess is so much easier. How do you actively let God guide you? Do you want to take control when things seem calm? Do you spend more time with God when things get tough, or are you preparing for the storms by trusting God in the good times? Well, this has been another episode of Thinking Out Loud. Until next time, goodbye.